Alright. We got another one. I don't even know backstory on this. I just know this is like a rapper from Baltimore that got gunned down. So I might not know a lot. So we're gonna jump right into this, man, without further ado, because like I said, I don't even know what's really going on and I don't want to waste time. So let's get right into it.
Nobody wins when the family feels.
Got rags like Venus. Little bitch, she the meanest. Know they mad when it sees. Top bag, I'm speeding. Top trim on the Benz, I'm a cutter. My bitch at the club, she gon' cut up. Diamonds hit the chain flooded. Fuck the light, we gon' run it.
As Lester Freeman said in The Wire, all the pieces matter, folks. All the pieces matter, according to the officials. One was responsible for Zoo's operation and was responsible for obtaining bulk amounts of drug trafficking proceeds and shipping them via FedEx to Zoo suppliers, authority alleged. Investigators allege they seized numerous packages totaling over $650,000 shipped by Hoon during the course of the investigation.
No matter what game you playing in this life is rules. And we all know, going out of town selling work is probably a bad idea. You're gonna have to take it further than anybody out there or pay the wolves. And we all know, they only good as long as you feeding them. Today we gonna be more. And we know, fam, be more known for stepping on they plugs. I just call it how I see it. Especially if you not from there. This another prime example of the people in Baltimore getting their way or the highway. But anybody who out there selling work and making money in their backyard, you either go get backdoored or them people's go come get you. And at this point, I don't see how nobody cannot see the play. You swimming with sharks and hoping you don't drown. Fam, today we talk about a man who been setting up shop in Baltimore for some time now, using Telegram, which now is a bad idea, but making money, hundreds of millions in the air, all through marijuana. A guy who referenced himself as Mr. Buckets, a man who was shot at twice in 2 weeks. The second time he felt the metal, and unfortunately, that caused him and his whole operation be brought down for not cooperating after him getting shot. But what if I told you, your boys try and rob you, they end up shooting you, and the police out to get you? Where you gonna go? Unless you turn on everybody, and after getting arrested, come home less than a week for serious charges, and drop a music video to pursue a rapping career nowhere near Baltimore. But that's what we have here today. People in Baltimore trying to run off on the plug, trying to smash him if he don't give it up. He end up getting shot, but this time the victim survived. And now, $100 million empire has been exposed. And I don't care how much money somebody make. Once that metal touches his body, he gonna think different. And if you think somebody who not from that place gonna be loyal to a place that robbed him and shot him, you sadly mistaken. Most of these folks pay for protection. But as we just mentioned, one thing about that, you gotta keep paying the wolves or they gonna bite you. In this video, fam, we go over this plug story. Talk about him, his operation.
Yeah.
Go over his indictment. And not
I'm recording.
expose an informant. So before we go over this one, I want you guys to remember, I won't give you no angle. I just give you the story. So with that being said, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. We're gonna jump right to it. Fam, as mentioned, today we're going to Baltimore, Maryland. We're gonna check out a known figure who go by the name of One Buckets on Instagram. Real name, Michael Miklos Jr., a leader of a multi-million-dollar drug operation from the East Coast all the way to China. And all this started after an investigation into 2 separate non-fatal shootings of this man in Baltimore revealed the sprawling network of individuals laundering millions of dollars generated from illegal distribution of massive quantities of marijuana, according to court documents. Money launderers and drug traffickers operating in Maryland sent large quantities of cash to New York, New Jersey, Washington, and other states to obtain shipments of marijuana and hid the source of their proceeds. Individuals from New York had collected millions of dollars from people in Baltimore, Maryland, and other states, and then transported those proceeds to money launderers and drug traffickers in Washington state and other locations in exchange for large amounts at Mary Jane. Some of the money were in airline luggage of passengers who served as mules, and proceeds were shipped via FedEx, according to the indictment, which we'll later discuss. In phone communications between co-conspirators, drug trafficking proceeds sometimes were referred in coded language, including paper for cash and stuff for Mary Jane. It was 10 alleged co-conspirators in the scheme, one name being blanked out and having Michael Miklos Jr., the top dog, aka One Bucket. Now what's key to note that when we go over this indictment out the gate, Bucket's friends was already an informant. He was the only ones who can give key intel to authorities for them to gather information. But at the time, Buckets didn't know this.
You see why you can't do your dirt with people, bro? Yeah, right off the rip, we already got an informant. We what, 4 minutes in? We got an informant already. One of his people. You see what I'm saying, bro? It's crazy. But $100 million operation is wild, bro. Especially just off of weed. Excuse me, MJ. You know what I'm saying? That's crazy just off of MJ, bro. But yo, let's continue on.
But as mentioned, Buckets was the target of 2 shootings in Baltimore, which how all this started. He was the leader and the mastermind of the criminal network operation in Baltimore, Richmond, Virginia, the New York metropolitan area, Allentown, PA, according to court documents. According to the indictment, he was shot at twice in 2 weeks. And that's when this investigation started, after he didn't cooperate. Back in February of 2023, detectives with the Baltimore Police Department contacted the DEA and advised they were investigating a non-fatal shooting of an individual identified as Michael Miklos Jr., aka Bucket. Detectives explained that Buckets had recently been involved in what they believe was a drug deal gone bad, where Buckets was shot at but not injured. During the investigation, detectives recovered 5 pounds of Mary Jane and over $100,000 in bulk U.S. currency from Bucket's rental vehicle. Apparently a week later, in a separate incident, Baltimore Police Department arrived at 3800 block of Wabash Avenue in Baltimore, Maryland, in response to a report of a shooting. Buckets was located at the scene. He had been shot multiple times in the pelvic region. Due to the severity of his injuries, he was transported to Maryland Shock Trauma for immediate medical attention. At that scene, investigators discovered several shell casings on the roadway and at a nearby apartment complex parking lot. Investigation officers also located a vehicle with significant amounts of blood in the driver and passenger areas, which means he was shot by somebody he was close with and that he felt he could trust. When police canvassed the area, it resulted in investigators recovering multiple pounds of Mary Jane that Buckets attempted to hide prior to police arrival. Buckets refused to cooperate or provide additional information to detectives during their investigation. At that time, in December of 2023, in follow-up initial investigation, an undercover had made an Instagram account to monitor the Instagram accounts of suspected drug dealers and money laundering, including Buckets. They quickly identified his Instagram account, One Buckets, where at the time, he utilized his link in the bio to giving the Telegram Buckets of flour that's now deleted from his bio. But before we really go into details more about his Telegram and this indictment, I want to briefly talk about Telegram and why at first people who did sold illegal goods felt comfortable doing so on this platform. Fam, it wasn't long ago that Telegram was proud of its record of having never given any user data to any government anywhere. But after the arrest of the CEO and founder Pavel in France over charges that he was complicit in allowing criminal activity on his app, Telegram has confirmed it will, at its very least, provide metadata to police in response to legal court orders. The announcement came in a Telegram post in which the CEO said the company had updated its terms and service and privacy policy to state that IP addresses and phone numbers of those who violate our rules can be disclosed to relevant authorities in response to valid legal requests. Now, some people didn't get that memo. That happened this year. So now we got that out the way and know why Buckets decided to use Telegram, assuming he can get away hiding his IP address and his phone number. He was sadly mistaken. It was noted in his indictment that Buckets had listed different strains of Mary Jane he had available, as well as prices from as low as $600 to the upward of $1,500 per pound. Buckets claimed.
Now, I don't know about Telegram. I never used it before. This is my first time even hearing about the app to begin with, but I would never trust to do anything on the phone, bro. Like, when do people learn? Back in the day, right? If you look at like the old times, right? People didn't use phones back then for a reason. If you watch The Wire, They used to use burner phones. They would throw them joints out. They would use the payphone or the burner phones. There's a reason why people don't use that stuff. So I don't know what would make anybody think the way that technology is today is so much more accurate. They could pinpoint everything. They have so much more information. Why would you use a phone? That just is beyond me, bro. I don't get it.
That have the lowest prices on the East Coast and the ability to ship the Mary Jane worldwide. He even had a Baltimore 410 number that was listed for contact. Authorities named his operation Nicholas DTO. Now another key player was a guy named XU. He was Chinese, but his nickname was Sean. According to authorities, he's been identified as a multi-million-dollar Mary Jane distributor operating a DTO in New York, as well as the leader of a money laundering operation in which the employees, several Confederates, to conceal the nature, source, location, ownership, and control of the drug proceeds. Sean and his associates worked with Mary Jane sources to supply the bulk quantities of Mary Jane and then package, rebrand, and distribute the Mary Jane to customers for distribution on the East Coast. Sean then collect millions of dollars in drug trafficking proceeds from customers, which he then turns back over to his suppliers and or send to bank accounts located in the People's Republic of China. Sean also uses the money earned through his drug trafficking for both personal use and to promote the activities the DTO, including paying rent at locations used as stash houses, paying members of his DTO, purchasing properties, and purchasing vehicles. Sean was basically Bucket's supplier and accountant, to sum it all up. And the other 8 people that was in this indictment was they workers under their DTO. But Buckets had an informant in his crew that's named under his DTO has been blanked out because he not only gave confidential informant information, but he also agreed to wear wiretaps, gave authorities location for perfect surveillance, and to build a case. For example, fam, page 34 of the 104-page indictment, this man in this U-Haul truck, that's one of Bucket's workers, according to this indictment, under his DTO. But his identity is not revealed to the public because he's an informant. Those boxes, they're supposed to be 250 pounds of Mary Jane. Those photos, not from a movie. He gave authorities the perfect location to set up shop and capture everything. You see, this incident happened on July 18, 2024, just a couple months ago. Investigators learned another large shipment of suspected Mary Jane shipped from Seattle for the Bucket's DTO. Bucket's informant supposed to picked it up. His name blanked out, as we know, but the details is that he picked it up from some Asian associates from Sean DTO. Now fam, another key detail that was in this indictment was on page 74. Meet Isaac Hunt. Isaac was a part of Sean DTO in New York. He once had 3 shipments to FedEx that was intercepted, 15 pounds apiece in each shipment, that contained over $650,000. And then it wouldn't hit him to the 3rd shipment that the feds had got him. You see, on June 28, 2024, investigators were conducting physical surveillance on the West 10th Street premises. That's where Isaac was located. Apparently, that's where he stayed. Investigators observed Isaac exit the black book bag and enter a vehicle as a passenger. Investigators followed Isaac as he arrived at a FedEx store located on the 500 block of 86th Street, Brooklyn, New York. Isaac had entered the store and proceeded to ship 2 packages as it contained in the red circle depicted in the image below. While in the store, agents overheard Isaac inquiring as to why his previous packages had not been shipped out of New York yet. Investigators learned from an administrative subpoena that the package's address was for a man that was under Sean DTO and was also in the indictment, Kai Wing Kai, at an address for a FedEx store on the 9000 block of Southeast Sunnyside Road in Oregon. Sean provided the West 10th Street as his return address. Sean later found out about Isaac interceptions and was pissed. The 6 above described packages shipped from June 27th, June 28th, and July 1st, 2024 were subsequently held by law enforcement pending a search and seizure warrant on the belief the packages were likely to contain drug trafficking proceeds. On July 1st, 2024, at around 10:11 p.m., agents intercepted a call between Isaac and Sean, and during that call, Sean said, "Mother effer, the Seattle paper route I sent money with got busted today." When asked how much was it, Sean responded 70 unit. Now Sean often used the term chicken and unit to refer to $10,000 in drug trafficking proceeds. Based on the above described events, they believe Sean was telling his guy Ty, who was also indicted under his DTO, that the packages shipped by Isaac had been seized by law enforcement, further understanding that the shipments contained approximately around $700,000 in drug trafficking proceeds, 70 unit. The warrant had seized over $650,000 in U.S. currency. This was the actual picture depicted below. Now, the last key detail in this indictment happened on August 1st, 2024, just weeks prior to me even making this video. At around 8:53 a.m., investigators intercepted a call between Bucket and his informant under his DTO. And during that call, Bucket told his informant/worker, quote, he said, he called his people and I'm putting everything together now. Bucket later said, yeah, but I'll call him periodically. Like I'll call him in like 40 minutes. I already called him 10 minutes ago. So I'll call him like 40 minutes, 45 minutes, and just ask for an update. He'll tell me, end quote. Buckets also told Mac, and I'm thinking this the informant. They slipped up and didn't cross him out. He's the only person who's not identified in this indictment and also not mentioned in the 10 people, all but one indicted and shown on the indictment. It's only 250 showed that his worker had driven from Baltimore to New York the night prior. Based on the information that was said during the phone call, investigators believe Buckets was organizing a meeting between him and Sean and 8 workers to pick up 250 pounds of Mary Jane on behalf of Buckets' DTO. Now, before we go over the details of that meeting, 2 months prior, on June 11, 2024, a judge of the District of Maryland authorized installation of GPS tracking device on the informant. And on June 26, 2024, the judge also authorized collection of location data in the informant phone. August 1st, 2024, at around 9:45 a.m., agents established surveillance on the informant, who was parked in the vicinity of a Cube Smart Shelf storage located on the 200 block of Wild Avenue, Staten Island, New York. Mac was driving the target vehicle, who was also in the indictment. Agents maintained surveillance of the informant as he drove to a local food establishment. At around 11:25 a.m., agents established surveillance in the vicinity of Canton premises and observed 2 parked cars in the location zone. A part of Sean's DTO was in a black 2023 Chevrolet Suburban with New York tags and was parked in the driveway. Liu, who was a part of Bucket's DTO, was driving a gray 2023 BMW with New York registration and was parked directly in front of the residence. At 11:45 a.m., Bucket's worker/the informant had called Sean. During that call, the informant had asked Sean, hey, what's going on? Is everything good? Sean responded, yeah, where are you right now? Sean said, I'm at the diner. I don't know exactly where, but I'm not too far, about 10 minutes away from the hotel. Sean replied, I think we can do at the hotel parking lot. So just wait there. Mind you, fam, I'm speaking like this because I'm trying to play character. He's from China. Let me call him and give you the ETA right now, end quote. At 11:41 p.m., Sean DTO member Suburban had entered the Cube Smart parking lot and parked a distance away from the target vehicle where the informant was at. The target vehicle moved from the parking spot and parked directly next to Sean DTO member Suburban. When the cars were parked next to each other, agents observed both trunk doors open and bags being transferred from the Suburban to the target vehicle. Based on the described phone calls and surveillance, investigators believe the bags contained Mary Jane. And at around 12:47 p.m., investigators observed Blank and Blank, who was blanked out, exit the Cube Smart parking lot in the target vehicle, and Sean, DTO member, also exit the parking lot in the Suburban. Investigators saw the individual in the front passenger seat of the Suburban, who was later identified as Luke. At 1:01 p.m., the Suburban returned to 715 Canton Avenue, Staten Island, New York, a location that's recently identified as Lou's residence. That's him getting out the BMW the authorities believe to be a bag of cash into his home. Shortly after, everyone was arrested. Raids took place, and this indictment came down on September 24th, 2024. They even had local news pull up after the scene and went live Check it out.
Isolated little Staten Island story. This Staten Island is part of a big puzzle. As Lester Freeman said in The Wire, all the pieces matter, folks. All the pieces matter. I'm going to keep reading here. All right, here's the alleged conspirators in the scheme. I'll try my best to pronounce their names correctly. Court documents have identified the defendants as Michael Miklos Jr., M-I-C-K-L-O-S. Can Kwan Zhu, Praveen Morgan, Huai, H-U-A-Y-A Zhang, Zebin Liu, Z-E-B-I-N, the last name L-I-U, Chunbing Kui, Kihao Tao, Peng Wang, and Isaac Hun.
Now, as for Buckets, his indictment is sealed now, but he recently showcased himself on social media, showing talents as a rapper. Check it out.
Little bitch, she the meanest. Know they mad when they see us. Top bag, I'm speeding. Top trim on the Benz, I'm a cutter. My bitch at the club, she gon' cut up. Diamonds hit the chain flooded. Fuck the light, we gon' run it.
He also posted some music and posted a clip of him eating yogurt with fruit. But it's important to know this: to come home less than 2 weeks of an indictment like this and be that blunt on social media is kind of bold, to say the least. But nonetheless, that's where we at. Fam, this was the story of a man not from Baltimore setting up shop, making millions a month, to get indicted after not speaking at first for getting slammed out where he set up shop at, getting shot at twice in 2 weeks, and on the second time he was touched. It's a lose-lose situation. Now you got people all the way from China, Oregon, New York, Staten Island, all involved in this. Not to mention Baltimore. Oh yeah, and the people he was running with was informant. You think we'll later give an update saying he will be too? Talk to me in the comments. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Until then, I'll catch you guys on the next one.
Now y'all already know. Y'all already know they're gonna say he's an informant. People gonna say that just because of the nature of how he came out, and then he's just living his life, doing music, posting on social media like nothing happened. They're gonna say that. He probably bailed out. I don't know the situation, but I mean, I don't know. It sounds kind of fishy. It sounds like he definitely flipping on somebody. So I don't know what's gonna happen with this one, man. Usually the good thing with the family, he always does updates on situations like this. So if once I know, I'll let y'all know. But y'all also could go subscribe to the channel, the family. He has great content over there. It's usually about things that we don't always hear in the media and in the news. A lot of like underground stories, which is why I like watching this channel, because I like, keeping up on what's really going on out there. So anyway, y'all get down in the comment section, like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff, share. Tell me what y'all think about this situation, man. And don't forget, go check out the family. And I'm out. Peace.